It's our third week of a 6-week series in the book of Colossians. You remember, we're not covering the whole book verse by verse, but we're just looking at 6 statements that Paul says that are true of believers. The first week, you remember, Jason introduced the series, comparing it to looking at 6 masterpieces. That you're at an art museum. We're not looking at every picture. We're simply looking at 6 masterpieces. Last week, I tried to bring that down a step for our A&M grads in the audience and said you could also think of it as going to a buffet. And so I would say if you're here this morning, if you're an A&M grad, we're looking at another one of the buffet items that is before us in the book of Colossians. If you're a Kentucky grad like me, think of it as an art museum. Think of it as a library where we're looking at some of the great masterpieces in Latin. You can think of it however you like, but we want to look at these 6 statements that Paul has. I feel the need to comment at the beginning. I remember Jason said 2 weeks ago, if anyone has any issues with this sermon, baseball trip. We were playing in state tournament. We went to Bowling Green, Kentucky. Now, I imagine probably none of you have been to Bowling Green, Kentucky, so I need to do a little bit of explaining. Bowling Green is the home of Western Kentucky University. It's about 100 miles south of Louisville, and we went there. And Bowling Green's famous for 2 industries. Well, I didn't bring any. It's the ultimate haves and have-nots. That's what Bowling Green is. But that's where we were playing baseball, and it was one of my first memories of staying in a hotel, and I was there with my buddies, and we went and toured Western Kentucky, and we drove by the Bowling Green Carabet plant. We ate in restaurants there, and even on the marquee of the hotel, it had our, welcome to Fern Creek, whatever we were, and it had our team up on the marquee. And I remember it was the greatest week an 11-year-old could live. You're with your buddies, you're hanging out in the hotel, you're sitting by the pool, you're running down the hallways. It was a great week. And it came time for our first game, and I remember I loved baseball growing up. And for the first time I can remember, I didn't want to play in the game. And that's not just true of 11-year-olds in sports. That's true at all levels. A couple years ago, the men's Final Four was here in Dallas. Y'all remember that in 2014? Kentucky was in it. I feel that's an unnecessary thing to say. They're always in the Final Four. But Kentucky was in the Final Four, and so me and the boys, we said, we're going to make a week of this. We're going to go, if you've ever been to the Final Four, there's all kind of events leading up to the games. And so we went down, and there were a lot of Kentucky fans in Dallas, and you may not find a 300-pound guy in overalls that's missing some teeth, an attractive guy, but that's my people, And so we went, and we all had our Kentucky gear on, and we went to the Civic Center. They had events, and we went to different things. And as the team came out, we knew all their names and their numbers. We're calling their names. We're trying to get autographs. And it was amazing. These 18-year-old kids walk into an arena that seats 80,000 people. There's going to be 100,000 people crammed in there for the basketball game the next day.